So here we have a Cancer ascendant. So we are moving on from Pisces.
So her ascendant is Cancer, so we start at Cancer as number one?
That's right. That's correct, yes. All right, so let's just start at the beginning. What do we know about Cancer? When we think of Cancer, what are the characteristics?
Family, children, home, the mother, land and property, vehicles, formal education, endings.
Right, so a lot of these will be prevalent, in Samada's life. And the ruler of the ascendant is very important. Where does it go? So the ruler of the ascendant goes to the 5th house, which is in Scorpio. And what do we know about Scorpio? What's the energies of Scorpio?
Emotional, hidden ability to research, analyze, hospice, other people's money, psychic abilities.
Yeah. So this Scorpio is a very deep sign. So this is someone who likes to go really deeply into things. Also, it will have a bit of a... Scorpio is emotions, but like hidden emotions. And it's under the surface emotions. So this wouldn't be a very expressive... She probably has a rich emotional life, but it's not necessarily one that she goes out and expresses to everyone.
She's not going to wear it on her sleeve.
Right. Do you find that to be the case? Okay. And you're probably very sensitive emotionally too, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the case for a number of reasons. Number one, because it's Scorpio. Scorpio is sensitive. They act tough, and they can be mean, but deep down inside, they act, the reasons they act the way they do is really to protect themselves. Because when the Scorpion, when he freaks out, he goes down into his hole, he retreats. All right, so that's where he likes to be. Now, she's also fairly sensitive because she has this Saturn and Rahu on the ascendant. Now, if she didn't have Saturn and Rahu on the ascendant, she would be a more obvious Cancer type. Meaning she would be the mothering, everyone loves her, she takes care of everyone. She probably does that anyway. But it would be obvious. When you saw her, you would get that feeling. Saturn is an oppressive energy. So he oppresses and he holds down the things that he's influencing. And so he would hold down her natural giving nature, make her more reserved. She's very giving probably, but only after she gets to know you very well, I would imagine. Is that true for you? And this is because of Saturn. Rahu here makes her very self-conscious. Or Saturn does too. Saturn gives self-doubts, like always second-guessing yourself. Did I do that right? Did I not do that right? What do you think? It's that sort of a thing. Because there's almost like a lack of really being able to appreciate what it is to be an individual who just has an idea about something and wants to do it.
So are you saying Rahu in the first makes you self-conscious?
That's right.
Or Rahu in the house of Cancer?
Rahu in the first. Rahu and Saturn in the first both do that. And Saturn is what gives the confusion about it. Whereas Saturn here would make her just sort of withdrawn and low self-esteem isn't quite the thing I would use for Samada, but not really believing in herself. So it's not... I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it's like lack of belief in oneself. And when Rahu is here, that makes it confusing. Like, why don't I believe in myself? What is true about me? How do I need to really act in this situation? It's not knowing how to be appropriate in expressing oneself. And the reason this is the case is because, remember, Rahu shows what we are meant to develop in this lifetime, which means her being her own individual, her not asking everyone questions and just deciding what does she want and doing it, whether it works out great or not, that's part of what Rahu means for her. Okay? So developing her individual personality, that's the main influence. And, for example, we're doing Samada's chart now, and we're talking about it, and the responses I get are just yes. There's no elaboration. And that's not a criticism. That's just very much Saturn in the first house. You ask her a question, yes. It's not, if Jupiter was there, she'd be pouring out all the reasons why, all these sorts of things. So it's a different kind of emphasis here.